For making this story more exciting, I'm not going to tell you which part of this was actually the classified part until the end. I had diesel, and they take both pumps from each side and put them both inside one of the top, and there's a guy straddled on top of the tank, and it takes forever to fill one of those trucks like that. Because suddenly, as a giant fucking alligator, I don't know, 12, 16 feet long. We get down, we end up setting up camp right outside their water treatment facility to get us drinking water first. So they had to power it with emergency power. They had to fix the leaks. They had to do everything that they have to magically do to make that shit work. A landfill of garbage, trees and garbage and everything looks like when it's a mile long and 100 feet tall, and it's just everything bulldozed and piled up, and then they light it on fire and let it burn on one end to the other, and then they keep piling shit on the other end and keep doing it. And there was like 4 of those around the area. Days turned into weeks. Weeks became life as normal. You get used to eating slop in the galley tent, taking showers in the public, outside with bugs, sleeping in a long tent, fighting off monkeys whenever you see them, and people occasionally getting hurt. Finally, after like a month and a half, we get to go back home. And I asked the chief mechanic, I'm like, so is it going to take us a week to drive home also? Since it took us almost a week to drive down? Oh man, I was such a smart ass then. And he says, no, we'll make it back good. He guarantees it. And I'm like, well, why? What happened? Why did our convoy break down so much, so long, that fucking this idiot got lost driving here? And he explained that as the equipment all sat in dry storage and mothballs, everything is maintained. You know, they wax and lube everything. Nothing rusts. It's all inside warehouses and stacked and done proper, except for the hydraulic hoses. He goes, you can feel the outside, and the outside feels fine. There's no sponginess to the rubber, to the hose, but these hoses are from the 50s. They're from World War II and Vietnam War. So they're fine on the outside, but the inside layer could be spongy and deteriorated. And you won't know that until you put it under pressure, or put under pressure a few times, and then the hydraulic hoses pop. And that's what was happening along the way, is they're breaking hoses. And all these hoses are unique, and they can only patch them so many times, and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, basically now, every hose that could break on these fucking things has broke. He goes, I trust any of them more now that we've been doing nothing but fixing them for the past month than anything else. And I'm like, cool. And true to his word, we drove home in, I don't know, maybe like 12, 14 hours. You know, it was just a straight shot, straight down the road. It was as fast as a bus could fucking go. They didn't care. You know, there's no laws for a convoy really at that size and type. And we get home, unload, and do our stuff. Back home, the whole battalion's back home. We've sailed into a normal home port routine for 2 weeks. Everything's back to normal. And I get called into a meeting with my lieutenant from detachment, my immediate supervisor, the XO, and the master at arms, and a JAG officer. What the fuck is going on this? You know, I got no idea. I'm blindsided. They call me in, and they want to do formal write-up and page 13 for disrespecting of an officer. Evidently, when I was drunk in the tent and said that was disciplinary action worthy. Okay, well, why don't you send me captain's mast for that then? That's what normal reaction would be, but that wasn't severe enough or written up enough for that. This is what they lead with. Okay. It ends up that instead of doing that, though, they're willing to forget all of it if I just sign this document here that will classify it to be classified for 25 years and a 5-year grace period. Later on, I found out there's a grace period to the grace period. And that would be sealed until they decide if they wanted to renew it, they could. But that everything in the story that I've told you here would be classified, and I would be forbidden to tell anyone in public or broadcast it anywhere. That's all expired, and so I've told you all here now. Now you know exactly what I know on what they wanted to cover up so bad that they were going to bring up random type of weird charges, but then were willing to drop it to classify the entire event on what happened there. From my point of view, nothing really fucking happened. I mean, I told you all what happened. But there was some things of embarrassment for the military. And collectively, that does look bad upon one entire lieutenant who was in charge of it, who had family connections. Things could be like convoy not following protocol when vehicles break. Bus getting lost, driving all the way to Jacksonville before coming back. Not taking the toll road which would be shorter because no one thought that government vehicles didn't have to pay for tolls. Filling up at a civilian gas station the way that they did with the credit cards and using the pumps in such a way that they did, and basically bankrupting the entire town of all of its gas. Invading the Indian reservation in the middle of the swamp without pre-notice or anything else. The stealing of the beer. The water plant authority, did they even know we were there? Did we have authorization to be there? We never met with those people too much directly. I assume they were always just happy that we got their place turned back on and powered up. But in reality, since this is a big concrete building, it was one of the few places that was untouched by the storm, because there really isn't much to fuck with on it. The alleged not AIDS monkeys research. The men having to shower together naked outside when there ended up being women personnel also around. The injury. The guy using a come-along, using a cheater bar on a come-along is not an improved method of tightening down a strap. But there wasn't the appropriate paperwork filed after that. I know that one because I did the paperwork. Or it could just been me having to write the sit reps, have him sign it, and then me having to type and send the sit reps. I know he's supposed to press enter and send on that. He being the lieutenant. Or it could have just been something as stupid as the numbers in the sit reps being bad. I don't fucking know. I'm a dumb monkey. I do what they tell me to do, but maybe the numbers didn't add up with the time cards and what they were billing, and some big fraudulent thing there that they were trying to keep covered up and quiet. That's what I imagine it probably was down to, because it seems to be I was the only one singled out, and why I was an asshole because I was a young punk then. I didn't do anything that dramatic. I was always good-natured and did what I was told. So I believe it was the info that I typed in the sit reps was fraudulent in nature, and I think that's why they worked so hard to classify all this. That, or it could have just been the exposure of asbestos to all the personnel there and never telling them that they all going to die of, speciosis. Well, we'll find out. And with that, puff, puff, pass, no park on the grass, I'm out of here. I don't fucking know. I'm a dumb monkey.